Hello, everyone, and welcome to Animal Advocates Radio, Voices Carry for Animals, number 519 shows this evening and counting. I want to welcome all you new listeners aboard. I hope you enjoy the show and keep coming back and spreading the word. And all you returning listeners, I can't thank all of you enough for all of your continuous support because that's what it takes is teamwork all the way to see the victories for our animal friends in need and distress. I just want to go over a couple things before we do get started here. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear, and Mama Bear is on the air because she really does care, okay? And I want to just go over a couple of things before I do get started here. We're going to, I got to make an announcement because all my shows are different audiences, different weeks because I do stand up and speak out for all the animals in need and distress. But I got some sad news on the Podbean issue here. Starting on May 18th, Podbean podcast is will no longer be having the live stream with the live studio chat room. So I will keep everyone informed. I do have guests booked up till then. So after that, on June 18th, it will totally disappear. So I do have my show saved on podserve.fm, and whatever I choose a new podcast, I'll start from there. So it knocked me down, but I'm going to get back up because I found one that's almost similar to Podbean podcast platform. So we'll go from there. Okay. So I'm not going to shut down, Voices Care for Animals podcasts and under no circumstances because I am relentless. Okay. So we're going to keep going here and not give up because the animals need us from every angle out there. It's not a pretty picture. It's not just minor problems here and there. We're going into massive problems. And all the animals out there, they deserve better lives in the future. So it's all up to us to make it happen, okay? And to make that happen, we got to take that action and make sure. Okay, so I see that Lindsey made it into the chat room. This is awesome, Lindsey Baker. Press the either the phone icon or mic icon on the lower right hand corner of your phone to alert me you want to come on air. And I see it, and you should be coming on. Okay. There we go. She's in. All right. This is a victory. but
We
but
had
anyway,
struggled, but we survived. We overtook it.
we did it, Lizzie. This is
Amen.
wonderful. We didn't give up, okay?
No, we can't.
And just think, I got to go and learn a new one in a couple months. So
Oh, goodness.
I know, and I want to welcome all of you in the chat room. And that's in there, and it is awesome in here. And whoever is listening out on the Podbean podcast website, Thank you for tuning in. And if you want like to join us here in the chat room, the live stream chat room, you're more than welcome to. There's just a couple easy steps that you want to take, and just go to the Google Play or the App Store and download it if you already have one of those. And then what you're going to do is search for Voices Carry for Animals podcast, and then you're going to follow. Okay, so that's where you're going to go in from there. And then on every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern, you get a notification on your phone, your laptop, your iPad, or tablet the live cast is starting up, and you can just click it and join, okay? And you'll be right in the chat room. And you can share the show right from this chat room. You could press like. The more likes I get, the better it is. It makes me, build me up a ladder and everything. But since Podbean's only going to leave in 2 months, I don't think it makes a difference now. but but anyway, maybe the next one will have it. But you're more than welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. Also, if you have the Podbean podcast app and you want to press the live icon on there, and then what I'll do is show you all the shows that's currently going live right now, and on if you go down, and it'll show the ones that's coming up. So Podbean does have a lot of podcasts on here, and big names and the whole 9 yards, and shows for animals. So if you want to check those out and spread the word, once this show is downloaded and I edit it and publish, and Lindsay, I'm also going to put the links in there too, okay?
Oh, great.
Because this is after it gets published, then it's going to go out to 28 other websites for podcasts and also 2 YouTube channels. So it's getting out there, okay?
And
So we
we
don't
can
have to worry
share it
about
to,
that one.
we can share it
Yes.
to Unchained TV Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify. Yeah, it's going there. The Spotify, iHeartRadio, what is it called? Player.fm, Podserve.fm,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Apple. You check yeah, Apple, Amazon. You should see this list. I mean, it's awesome. And then I got to say goodbye to him. So I hope the next one does the same thing, okay? Because that'll be great. But anyway, I'm going to introduce. This is her first time on the show, and I'm going to welcome her because she's out there. Where she's awesome, and
Oh,
she works very hard out there for the animals and speaking out for them, and also a host on there. So it has a podcast. So I always believe in teamwork all the way, Lindsay. When we all
me
work
too.
together, we become stronger. And working together like this, we're out on air, on our different shows, but it's
Right.
speaking out for them and getting more attention and action takers is the key, right? I mean, we cannot.
Yeah. Well, it's exponential when we all work together.
That's right, teamwork, because we are strength in numbers out there, everyone. And the stronger we become and the faster the changes. So we do have a choice. But anyway, I want to welcome aboard Lindsey Baker of Action Hour podcast, host on Unchained TV. Jane Velez Mitchell, big shout out to Jane. She's been on the show. It's been a while, several years, but I'm a student of invitation. I know she's real busy right now, but she's an
I'm sure
awesome.
she'd
She's
love to come
awesome.
on.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure she will love to come on.
Yes, I know she will. Well, since this podcast is leaving, we got some time now to get her, myself situated and bring her on because that is, where it's at. But anyway, everyone, we're going to the topic this evening is going to be how social media has transformed the animal rights movement and why collaboration within the movement is critical to its success or failure. Okay, so this is a very important subject here about social media, and later on in the show, and we usually go to like I don't know 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, so that would be what 3 or let's see 8:30 Let's see, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock
So
Mountain, 4 o'clock
5:30.
Pacific. Yeah, 5:30 your time. Is that okay?
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, because I usually, when I was on Blog Talk Radio, I ran them like an hour and for 10.5 years. So I said, this one I'm going to go longer. That way, if the callers want to call in, and if we have any callers later in the show, everyone, you can, speak on air, ask Lindsay any questions or comments you have. Just try to refrain from any noises in the background, TVs, radios, conversations. You're more and welcome to come on board, and we'll give you your all your sites, website and all that later in the show, and all the information you need because all these shows are archived. And listen and share 24/7. Like I said, you can share this show right now from this chat room, and this chat room is phenomenal. I will miss Podbean, you know that. So
Oh,
yeah, and we got some more coming in. We got some more Animal Warrior Sisters on board, Peter. Hey,
oh, great.
welcome aboard, Phil. Phil, anytime. Michelle, there's another one, Animal Warrior Sister. She gets out there and shares, shares, shares. I'll tell you what, she is fast.
That is
Great
great.
team, I know. But anyway, go ahead, Lindsay. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started. We'll start with that, and then we're going to get on about the social media. How's that?
That sounds great. Well, just about myself, about 2016, I became vegan. I learned about the dog meat trade and I couldn't believe what was going on. And for some reason, even though we don't eat dog in this country, it just hit the nerve for me and I became vegan. It wasn't overnight. I already was on my journey from, vegetarian, eating fish and chicken. So I did do it slowly. But the point is, right around that time, I met Jane Velez Mitchell and I was intrigued with what she was doing. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I could get involved in this, because I really wanted to do something to help animals. And I kept trying to find my niche. Do you know what I mean? Like we
Oh
each
yeah.
have, you have your strength, which is podcasting, of course, and speaking to people. You're very personable. But there's other people that do other things really well. But for me, it was not only intriguing, but also exciting to be able to do interviews. I love interviewing people. So thank you so much for the hearts. So I got involved, and then I learned the power of what this is and how it changed from when 2016, when I became vegan, to today, where back then hardly anyone even knew what veganism was. People would say vegan, and it just was like not, you go into a restaurant, there weren't very many, there some places, no options to, today much better. It's not perfect, it's far from perfect, but I tend to be optimistic and I saw a big change. And I personally think it's because of social media. And there's right today a situation that proves the point with the Ridgeland Farms rescue. I'm sure you guys have seen that with the beagle rescue from the testing labs a couple of days
Yes.
ago.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
it's growing
wow.
exponentially. It's now on, we've been Unchained TV, we've been covering that story now for I think a couple of years at least, even more, but it's kind of grown in momentum to recently, and we've done a lot of shows recently on the labs, not only in the US, but also in England. In London, there was big rescue. And then some of the people that had rescued got jail time. Some got acquitted. It's really interesting. But now it's kind of built this momentum. And if you go on social media, you can't help but see it. And the thing is, right now, I'm going to just I hope you don't mind, I make this plug to please call the Wisconsin Police Department. And also, the number I'm going to give you is the number to call and say they were able to rescue 22 beagles, but that's only like 1%. There's 2,200 in there. And they got 300 beagles out. It was, if you guys haven't seen it, you can just go on social media and watch it. It's very dramatic and very emotional. But
Yes.
the police came and they took 8 of those dogs, and we believe they gave them back to the torture labs. And I
Oh
don't say
no.
that lightly. And I don't defame companies, but I don't say that lightly. And I can prove it, and I will in a minute. But anyway, we want people to call this number and demand that they return those dogs to the rescuers and also release the other 2,200, because the special prosecutor went in there. The dogs are standing on a wire frame bottom. No, their feet get injured from that. They're not supposed to be on there. They passed a law and told them to not to have them there. They closed it down, and they only have a few more 6 months before they're supposed to have all the dogs out of there. And they continue to experiment and sell the dogs. So if people call in and demand that the police department and the authorities, the politicians in Wisconsin, in that area, do their duty and release these dogs to sanctuary, there are people that will take them. I'm going to give you the number. It's 608-266-4948, and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, oh, that'd be great. Yes, and it's all over social media, everyone, and on the pages. I even shared it on my timeline in all
Thank you.
groups, everything, because it needs to get out there. It needs attention because we're their only hope. They can't speak out for themselves, and what they was doing is these rescuers were doing the right thing. Animal abuse and neglect and cruelty is crimes, and they
Right.
should be treated like crimes. There's no excuse for this kind of treatment to them. It's no kind of life. I mean, it's terrible.
They're
And
in 2x4 cells with one other dog,
exactly,
and they get a little Piper's toy to play with. I mean, that's 24/7. And they were testing on them with unauthorized personnel and without anesthesia.
oh, it is
And
sickening. I mean,
the
it's
special prosecutor went in there, was appalled, and he told them they have to close a place down, yet they continue to operate. And that's why if people will call that number, it will make such a difference.
That's right. Make a difference in the world because, I mean, there's no excuses for this. What kind of life is this for these innocent animals? And they're so adorable. If they were supposed to shut down, why didn't they shut down? If there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to worry about, right, Lindsay? It's terrible. And
Yeah,
they
it,
need
they're
to be out completely,
They need to
out of
be
there.
out.
Yep,
They found a loophole, and they're doing it, I guess, supposed to be have a certain amount of time to do it, to have all the dogs out of there. But they found a loophole, and they continue to not only test on them, but they continue to sell them. And this poor dog, the dogs that made it to freedom, those eight, and then were taken back in. It's just, and they were so scared. You could see, and you'll see if you watch the video, when they pull the dogs out, the dogs are trying to get away, because usually when they get pulled out of a cage, they're going to be tortured. These horrible experiments doing horrible things to them. And it's just unconscionable that the police dragged their feet. They actually ripped one of the dogs out of the hands of an activist, and took it back to the farm, it's called a farm, but it's really it's a testing lab, Ridgeland Farms, but it's a testing lab and a breeding farm for animals to be tested on. And the thing that we found out, covering these stories for a while, is it's not, people say, oh, well, they have to do tests for humans to be able to be saved. Well, the testing on these animals is inaccurate. It does not help humans in 90%. This is all documented. You can check it out. 90% of the tests done on different drugs that work in the animal model do not work for humans, because we're not dogs. We're not whatever the animal is. And now we have test organs on a chip, and that is the best way. And the scientists, that's the kind of uh, that's the data that they want, because they say just the conditions these animals are being kept in, they are not healthy. Therefore, testing on them is skewed in the first place, but it didn't work. It doesn't work anyway. This is great. Somebody wrote here, this is wonderful. And let's just put this number in there. Whoever wrote, was that you, Debbie, or somebody
Which
wrote a
one?
long thing? Take action, call the Dane County Sheriff.
Yes,
Let's give the numbers.
Michelle.
Michelle, could you add in 608-266-4948 so that people have the number to call? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Definitely. And she gets out there and shares like crazy too on the, on Facebook groups and pages and everything, tags.
Oh, that's
She's a,
wonderful.
yeah. I just when she's in Facebook, Josh said, "Hey, I'm probably right behind you." You know what I mean? Because they don't, they need to quit suspending us because we're doing what's right out there.
We're doing what's right. And the more
Yep.
people that put out content like this and share the content, a lot of people don't really like being on camera. They don't really want to make videos, but they can do an amazing job just sharing. And like
Yes.
this, Michelle put the number up there. Things like that help so much. And we all can do so much by doing what we do best and what we enjoy doing. That's what I've learned.
Oh yeah, because I don't mind it at all. Even though with this podcast, that's not the only thing I do. I'm
Right.
out there, on X and LinkedIn and Facebook, admin on, on Facebook on pages and groups, several of them. So I go where I can do multitask, because when
Yeah,
we
I see
jump
it.
over and multitask and help other,
Yeah.
groups and pages out, hey, we double in strength. And come on, let's triple in strength and quadruple. Because I'm not into just one cause. I like to do multiple causes as much as I can out there because that's so important. Press that share, 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 everyone, for the mama bear, all right? Because that's what it goes into the news feed. And then maybe a couple people won't do nothing or share, but maybe two or three, the next ones will. And that's when it goes viral, okay? And that's so important to get the attention and the active action takers because that's where it's at. We can listen to all these podcasts if we want to. And I could have 1 million followers. Yeah, that's wishful thinking. But and if I had,
Yeah.
a million, if there nobody does anything, guess what? We're not
Right.
getting nowhere. It's spinning our wheels. So we have to take that action. That is the key. You know, not the
Yeah.
be all action. Let's talk. That's where it's at, and you'll feel better when you take action because I know I do.
I
Whether
do
I'm,
too. I do
don't
too.
you? I mean, I'm so inspired by it and keep going, and inspire each other. And hey, tell your neighbors, your friends, your family, your sons, daughters, get the word out there. What's going on because some people get so busy in their lifestyles they don't have a clue what's going on.
Well, the thing
So
is, people
yep.
don't think they can make any difference. And like you said, they're so busy in their lives and then they're tired. But just taking like one step, it just grows so exponentially and it makes such a big difference. And it's so easy now with social media. We have this amazing tool to share information. But there's a couple of things that really I think could even help more. And one of them, and that ties into this, is just activists getting along and working with each other. I see that a lot of different groups, I'll pick one in particular, the horse saving wild horses. There's so many wonderful groups doing it, but they're not working together. And I think the problem is they're too caught up in the details. Like, let's get together and figure out how to get these animals saved, and then we can worry about, what is the proper type of birth control or whatever it is they're not agreeing on. But it's just like, even within the animal rights groups, if people came together, we would have so much more strength. Don't you agree?
Oh, I totally agree. I see that stuff happening all the time. It's like where they stick with their own groups. They don't want to help out other groups or pages. When you stick by yourself, it's better to be team players, okay? We're stronger, better together than apart and alone. So, and it takes a village, everyone, not just, a few people here and there. And I see you happening on, I don't know if you've noticed, on a lot of these big pages. In fact, I just got access and I want to give fans of animal rights on Facebook page. They got 356,000 followers, okay? If you look down the page, this is just started last week, there's hardly any shares or attention, maybe a
Mm,
handful. Okay, that is a no-no because that's the animals always pay the price. So where's all these 356,000 followers at? You got me? And
yeah.
there's more likes than shares. Likes don't serve no justice. So if you're on the fans of animal rights, I mean, I don't have total access. So they asked me if I want to cover because they've been supporting this show for many, many years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back, let's see, it's almost 12 years in June, at the end of June, when I was on TS Radio Network. So we're going probably back at least over 10 years where they've been helping me, okay? So when I got on there, I was like, well, it's called Fans of Animal Rights, okay? That means
Nice.
fighting for animal rights. And I'm not seeing that much, stuff to put on there to take action, maybe photos, and they
Mhm.
got great photos on there, explaining about animals and all different animals, but there's wasn't really many spots to take action, make those phone
And
calls or sign those petitions, call the politicians. So I'm trying to figure it out to help out, not just come in and, hey, take over completely, work
right.
together. Where are we, you know, where are the positive parts? Where are the negative parts? Because how are
Exactly.
we going to draw them back? You got me? How are we going to get more action takers? Yeah, that looks good. 356,000 followers. That looks awesome. But
Well,
where are they? Right? Yep. It's unbelievable. So we
but
can't
the
give
thing
up,
is,
Lindsay. We can't give up.
no,
No.
we can't give up. And it's just, I think people have to really try their best to take, when they set these things up, like logistically, this is important too. Like you said, if there's a link, take action, click here right now. People will do that, but it has to be an easy process. And that's important for the people when, if you, because anybody can set up a petition. And that's another great thing you can do. Um, but when you do it, you have to make sure it's an easy action because people will, you have them for those like 3 seconds to grab their attention. And then maybe like, if you have them for 30 seconds to 40 seconds, that's a big time commitment, unfortunately, in our society, in this social media, world that we live in.
Oh yeah, because the if you look at it, the social media, whatever one you're on, it's a landing strip for all of us to come together and share, and make the awareness happening. So without social media, where would we be, right? It's a great landing strip for us to get the word out there, take that action, and do something because with all of us coming together and doing something, and every effort counts. Okay, every effort counts. Whether you make calls to your state
Right.
lawmakers, sign petitions, write letters, go to peaceful rallies. There's so much you could do, and it doesn't really take that much time. It's valuable time, meaningful time, because you're making a positive impact in this world, not a negative one. Because we're the animals only hope to carry on. They're given better lives and futures because
And
they
we're,
deserve it.
and we're given an opportunity to be what we truly are meant to be, which is the stewards of the earth, and not the people that, like, we think animals are here for us, not with us, but actually they're here with us. Like, the earth is just as much theirs as it is ours, yet we just act and treat it like, it's not worth anything. And the animals have, because they have no voice, they have no say, but that doesn't make it right. And my belief, and I think a lot of people today feel this way, we are all one. And what happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. May not be obvious immediately, but over time, if you think about it, it definitely makes sense because it's just like a functioning body. If you have a wound in your foot and you ignore it, then the whole system is going to break down. We see that in the country right now in so many ways. The country's moral fiber has broken down and our empathy is gone. And it's just, these are the things we have to bring back. And being an animal rights activist, I think it helps you to feel like a better person and feel good about yourself. And it makes it more, your contribution in general, more positive.
Yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't agree with you more because bringing the negative into the positive, and it can be done, and it's up to us to do it. They blame society. Guess what, everyone? We are society. So
Right.
it's up to do something about it. Whether and also I notice on social media from all angles, Lindsay, and I know you've seen it too. There is where we the people of the United States of America are all together. It doesn't break it down to if you're black, white, gay, straight, whatever.
Right.
It's all of us, and I see so much fighting going on social media. I
Oh,
mean, ripping each other, name calling. I mean, it is ridiculous, and they're getting zero accomplishments because where can you get with that? Nowhere. It's very hurtful when you see the bullying going on. That hey, we're not red and blue people. They might call it red and blue states, or right wing, left wing, or back wing, or you know what I mean, back tail.
yeah.
And we're not that. We got to do what's right in America. And the Democrats and Republicans, okay, they're both in our House of Representatives and also our senators. It's mixed, okay. So
Yeah.
I've heard him say, "Well, I'm not calling this not my political party." Well, that's where you're being part of the problem, then, because
Right.
if you're not going to make that call because of your political race, that's not good. Now you're being a big problem right there. We have to united we stand, not united we fall.
Well,
And
that's
if
the
that
thing. I
stops
mean,
you, yep, go
we're
ahead.
just one country and one, and what happens is it's almost like we're playing into the hands of the people that have all this power, these big corporations and lobbyists, and we're playing right into their hands because we're fighting with each other. And you can see when a group of people, and it's not even, I mean, there was 100 people that went to Ridgeland Farms, and that's just one. That's just one thing that activists did recently, one action. There's so many actions going on. But whenever it happens, it's even a small group of people. But if enough people, like that group in particular, they coordinated. This organization has been going on for almost 20 years. And they organized this thing to bring 100 people to that place in Wisconsin on a cold day and be willing to get arrested. That's huge. And they did all the logistics and they totally surprised them when they went in there. They're never violent. There was actually, this is very interesting, and this is so important too, that all the actions are non-violent actions. The whole philosophy of veganism is non-violence. So, anyway, what happened, which is very interesting, apparently somebody that was employed by Ridgeland Farms, while they were going in to take out the dogs, they came in there and they started to block off their way of getting out. And so they went the other way. And then what this particular employee had a knife and he started to go after one of the activists, demanding them to leave. The activist left, went into the truck to drive the dogs, and this employee came out and slashed the tires.
Isn't that sickening?
And
Well,
it's
what?
actually
Oh,
assault. luckily there were only two dogs, and those dogs got out. They got out, which is good. They
Yep.
were they got out of the area, so they were able to take them out of that truck and move them out. And there's a very dramatic footage up on. You can just look under DXE or Wayne Chung, and you'll see it, or Unchained TV. It's on there. It's on my page. Lindsey Baker. You can check it out there. But it's the thing is the what you it's so dramatic when you watch it. It brings tears to your eyes.
I've
It's
seen
so
it. Yes.
yeah
It's and you want them all out of there. That's the main thing. And
yeah
please spread the word. Make those calls, and emails and letters. Let your voice be heard. It's so very important. Being silent is not a solution for change. Okay,
right
so we have to take that action and do something. Let's be their voices and strong ones, because we can get the changes made. I never doubt that, because the more of us that our voices are heard, our actions are recognized, and it's all peacefully. Hey, we're going to get somewhere from every angle, So, and that's what
yeah.
counts.
Well, we
Better
all
lives and
already
futures.
yeah
Yep,
we all already have quite a bit of success across the movement. Lots of things have been going on and changes have been made, and just the acquittal of these people. They can't, this one group I keep focusing on, but there are many groups doing amazing work. And the activists like Zoe Rosenberg and the chicken rescue trial, she served her time, but she was out within a very short time. Of course, being in jail is, any amount of time is terrible, and particularly she had health issues. But these people are so focused. They, like you say, don't give up. They do not give up. And yeah, someone says here Trump ran on saving the beagles. They need to be saved right now. Yeah, that's another thing people can write to Trump. You can write to the president. You can write to your elected officials in your area. And nobody can disagree. Like even the people in the news media, who doesn't love dogs? I mean, sadly,
exactly.
they make a distinction between farm animals and cats and dogs, but it's wrong. But I mean, who doesn't love dogs?
That's
So this
right.
is an easy one. This is actually an easy
Yeah,
one.
and they can. I got the number memorized. If you want to call President Trump, leave it. It's a comment line, okay? Area code
Uh-huh.
202-456-1111. Okay, it's four ones, okay? And then there's hours. I don't know if they've changed, but from Tuesday to Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern to 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Okay, so there's Tuesday through Thursday, and I'm gonna uh, get an update to see if they changed that yet. But you can leave a comment for President Trump about this, or even contact the White House, because I've done that many times. Okay, you got to put your name, your address, everything there, and be professional and polite. That's how you get through quicker.
Yeah.
If you're obnoxious and irate, you're not going to get nowhere with anybody. No politician, not President Trump, nobody. But search or contact the White House. Do a search, and then the link is contact, because I've done it many times throughout the years, and something I was wanting my voice heard on, and you do get a response that they did receive it. They get so many of them. Hey, the more the better.
Right.
Of all of us doing this. So, and also, if you want to contact, if you have never done it, because I've had several people that has asked me, how do I get a hold of, my senator or representative? And please record this, keep it, put it in your contacts, or that way it'll be there, and it's air. And this is a nationwide number, okay? 202-224-3121. And then during business hours, they're going to ask you for your zip code. Then they'll transfer you to either senator or representative. and then you can either, I don't think you're going to get through to them. I never have, but you could leave a message with the legislative aid, okay, and then
Hmm.
and after hours and weekends you could leave a voicemail. You can, there's all certain ways you could do this, or email them. Find your representative, search that on the internet, and then put it in your zip code, like kind of find my representative, and then you click the link and then put your zip code in, and it'll lead you right to them, and you can send them an email right from there. Because I've done that, or phone call. You can call them, get their fax number, write them letters, make an appointment, but make everything professional and polite, and you're going to get farther. Right, Lindsay?
Yeah.
We have to be professional and polite to get anywhere, because that way they understand us. We're being the animals' voices. So what is going on here? I mean, it's sad. I've seen the videos. I've been sharing them all over social media, and they need us now. Okay, not next week, not next month, year. Now, keep it hot, going into the spotlight. So action's taken. Something, there's changes, because they're relying on us. We can't look the other way, because this is another big issue here. And with what you guys are doing and Jane's doing, hey, it is so inspiring and uplifting,
Thank
because
you.
we really do care, Lindsay. We really do care.
We do.
We
And there's a lot of really good groups. Someone here just wrote Aloha in 1978. I used to participate in Cube of Truth in Vegas, and I no longer live there, but apparently that's a really, I've done a couple of Cubes of Truth. I, some people were doing, again, talking about the different ways that everyone has their gift. Some people are gift of gabs. So, like, some of us held the monitors and you have a mask. And it's interesting because when you're standing there with the monitor and they're looking at this horrific footage of factory farming, which is absolutely accurate and unbelievably truthful because it's so horrific, and you have a mask, they really can't see that you're looking at them. And you really can look into their soul, and people are just horrified. So that's a really good way. But then other people at the same time were going and doing outreach because they're good at that. So they were, they were talking to people. That takes a little more skill. Holding the monitor is not that hard, but it is very emotional, but it's easy. Like, so there's always a place someone can fit in. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways that people are doing outreach or animal rights, because it's human rights too. If we would do this to animals, eventually, I was watching a clip. This is really interesting about you. Oops, that's my dogs. Let me shut the door. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Hey, he's given his. The louder you bark, the more you're heard, Lindsay. It's not the first time, and I don't mind
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry about that.
it.
They're both rescues. But I was watching this activist who was very, very brave. And what they did is they had the balls, I don't know what other word to use, to actually go and work in a factory farm. Could you imagine having to work in there? And they said, because they were documenting and all this stuff, they said that after a while, the human being, it starts to, like, you start to be able to do it more easily. It's so easy to fall into something so bad. It doesn't take that much. And that was really a shocker and awakening for me. So, I mean, obviously this person was an activist and they did valuable work there. But just the idea of, you think, how can people do this kind of thing? But when you start to, it's like you go into another reality, and in that reality the animals have no feelings, and you're dealing with, like, I guess an object, a piece of nothing that's worth more than tissue.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just incredible.
it is. But everyone, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you come in late or you missed the show anytime, it's all these shows, these live streams are recorded live and archived. Okay, so if you're on the app, you could just go to Voices Care for Animals podcast where you're following, and all the shows is going to be listed and share 24/7, 365 days a year. Okay, that's so very important too. Because they get a lot of downloads. That's after the show's downloaded and then and published. So that's a good news too. You
Yes.
know, and
Same
I
thing.
love that part. Yeah,
Same thing
keep
with
it.
my show a lot, and also Unchained TV. Like when we run our shows on there, initially we'll have a live audience, but a big part is also afterwards. So sharing this out will help a lot too. People will see the number and they'll call in.
That's right.
So that would be
Get
really
it out
good.
there because let your voice be heard. Because every voice out there, every action taken is so very important and crucial. Okay, because when we come together and the politicians, they don't like public outrage or public cry. When there's
Yeah.
a lot of us, and I've seen that happen many times, where I'll say, for example, if you heard about down here in Florida with the troopers law, where the dog was out on the fence, tied, and his name.
Oh,
Well, it was so sad. But this was in what, not 2025, but 2024, and state highway patrol came by and rescued him, got him all. I mean, almost so deep in water, and there was hurricanes out there.
oh my
Okay, isn't
God.
that sad? So there was so much public outrage on this and everything. The trooper took the dog home, and now a happy ending. Okay, and everything. But within a year, all the public outrage and public cry from around the world. Do you know there's a law now in effect for troopers law?
That's
And they named him
amazing.
trooper because a state highway trooper rescued him. Isn't that awesome? And happy home. I can't thank that trooper enough for doing that. But see how fast it happened with all that, just from, and that was terrible. You don't tie a dog or to a fence or a tree, and there's hurricane warnings and watches out there, or even bad storms. That is not right. But that's how fast it happened. The action taken, a law in effect.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
what that's why I think it's so great how, the topic that we're talking about here is how social media has changed it, because I remember if you saw some abuse, you could call in, like maybe you hear a dog barking and barking down the street. You could call in, but that's it. You didn't have any way to take video. Now we can take a video. You can send it and you could put it across social media and say you called. I mean, people can do so much now. It's just like use that platform. Use your phone. Your phone is a production studio, and it's incredible that you can broadcast and help animals so much more. People, they didn't, a lot of people get really depressed because they see sad things and they don't know what to do. But we have such a tool and a weapon in our in our pocket with the phone, and
that's
just
right.
just to make people aware of how much you can do, just spreading the word and sharing.
It can't get no easier than help make changes, positive changes in the comfort of your home, your phone, your
Yeah,
computer or laptop. If you have a fax, copier, I mean, right there, can't get no better than that. And it's not that difficult, and it's not that time consuming. You're doing meaningful time. I've gotten so fast at this all that from years ago. Jane Velez Mitchell
yeah.
got me started back in 2000. I think it was 2001 when she
Oh
was
yeah.
on HLN. Yeah, issues. That's who got me. I was always loved animals, but she got me into advocacy. Because I'm seeing
Mm.
all this stuff, and I remember the show she had on that had tears coming down my eyes at the Conklin Dairy Farm. Do you remember that? Where they was using pitchforks to hit the cows, and they was treating them
Oh,
so. It was terrible. And I said, that does it. I said, I am so sick of this. Enough is enough. So once I got on social media, it wasn't for the using it for personal. It was going towards animals, and I'm
Yeah.
an advocate for elder abuse also. So
Oh yeah.
we got some issues going on here, and then 2014, I got with Marty Oakley, TS Radio Network. She passed away sadly April 1st of 2023, and she helped me get started, trained me in everything to do my own, be her host on TS Radio
Well,
Network,
that's
Voices Care
wonderful.
for Animals. So she was the grassroots, and I'm still going now, and it's 2026, right? So I'm
That's
not getting
amazing.
going nowhere. I can't thank, I wish she could see this, but hey, it
Yeah.
happened, and may she rest in peace. She was a super advocate, but she stood for up a lot of, shows. And in fact, Lindsay, I'm having a show April 1st because that's when she passed away of 2023, a tribute to her, and having all, her guests are, not guests, I'm sorry, her hosts are still running her shows, and they're going to be on, I'm going to run it on a Wednesday night and have mine Thursday, but I'm going to do a tribute to her. So we're going to be having the animal advocates, elder advocates, everyone's coming in,
Oh, that's
and
great.
this is going to be awesome. And this will be the third one. And so I said, you know what? This is my call. This is where I'm supposed to be, and
Because
I
you're
don't mind
right.
it at
Yeah.
all because I enjoy it. I take the time. It makes me feel good when I'm doing something like this, being a positive impact in this world and doing my best. I can't do it alone. I know that. It takes teamwork all the way from every angle. And social
Absolutely.
media, and you notice it helps out so much on all of them. When you press that share, get it in the news feed, it gets out there, and it attracts more active action takers. That's what we want.
And
That's what it takes.
And even building your own audience, like when you go out to the store, you could say, "Hey, this is a great, plant-based milk," or "This is I buy this." People want to know about that stuff, and that helps people. Maybe I should try this vegan thing, or maybe I should find out more. Or if you happen to be at a protest, you could film it and put it up on social media. So it's
Yeah,
also good to go out and do. I try to do some protests and go to some events too, because there are people that say, well, you can't just stay on social media. And that's true. I like to get out a little bit and go to some events, but everyone can do what they do. Some elderly people, that may not be an option, or for whatever reason, they don't have the mobility. Nobody's left out, but it's just, I think if we all were doing that instead of fighting with each other, do you imagine how powerful, how much change? You mentioned elder abuse. I mean, that's my other pet thing too. What
yes,
happens as we age, and instead of becoming more valuable, we become like we don't matter, and that's terrible. That has to change, and that's really
yeah.
more here in the U.S., don't you think?
Oh yeah, because you know what? In my Help Stop Elder Abuse group, it's got over like 5,100 members, but
Wow.
and not active members. But you hear these stories, and then National Center on Elder Abuse reported over 5 million elderly are victims of abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and that's only what's reported. Isn't that sickening? It's like, look, I go, what? I mean, our ages don't stop here at all. We have birthdays every year, and so do they. And our every year our ages, roll over, and it looks pretty bad out there. With the golden years turns into golden nightmares, and there's no excuses for it. Just there's no excuse for neglect, abuse, cruelty in children, animals, elderly. They are voiceless, helpless, defenseless, and innocent. So if we don't make it better out there with stricter laws and harsher penalties, guess what? We're going to have 5 million more next year, 5 million after that. When is it going to stop or change? Massively decrease,
Well,
so
that's just kind of like, I was trying to make that point. I don't think I really made it very well, but the
Mm,
whole thing about working in, even a good person working in an environment like that, it becomes normalized. And I mean, it's scary the way things are going. We've never seen so much cruelty. I don't know if it's that if it didn't exist, or maybe because we didn't have such access, like nobody really has too much privacy anymore. But in a way, in this way, it's almost a good thing because I think this has been going on forever, this cruelty to elderly, to animals, to
yes,
children. But now
yes.
we know and we can do something about it. That's the difference.
That's right. We the people have power. You know, power in numbers, strength in numbers. If there's enough of us, only a handful. Guess what? We're only spinning our wheels. So it takes a village. You know, you could
It
be a
does.
creator of a law, author of a new law. You know, get a hold of your state representative. You need a sponsor. Ask for a constituent bill proposal form in that each state. Have them to mail it to you or email it to you. Fill it out, mail it back in, get with your representative, close contact, and go through draft, get a bill draft number, and then that now if it gets passed and gets the bill draft number, now you want co-sponsors, okay, as representatives and senators. And if it's in just statewide, if both it passes the state and the or the state reps and the senators, it goes to your governor to sign. So yes, there is work involved, but you have to dedicate yourself to it. You know, involvement and have support. And hey, you could be a creator of a law, and I've seen it done. With a 16-year-old. But you know the
Wow.
PACT Act, right? 2019. I had shows on that, and I can't take credit because it takes a human chain reaction to take that action. But a 16-year-old back then, I brought it up a couple weeks ago. Marty Irby, you've heard of him? He was on the
Yeah.
show. He's awesome too. And we had brought it up because one of the shows back then, he was, trying to get everything. It had over at the time I seen it was over 800,000 signatures for the PACT Act. I mean, it's a prevention of animal cruelty, torture, and so I had Sydney who got the petition. She was 16 at the time. Got the petition started. She got a hold of a representative, and then had a sponsor. After that, she got a hold of co-sponsors and then senators, and then it
Wow.
passed
Oh my
nationwide.
God.
Isn't that something?
A 16-year-old can do it. We can all do it.
Exactly. And I mean, I was amazed. I said anybody could do it, but she put her mind to it. And she had come on the radio. This was back in 2019. So she came on the radio and was talking for like 10 minutes. I couldn't thank her enough because I got a hold of her father, and then he hooked me up with her because she was on Facebook. And I said, look at this, a 16-year-old starting this. And at the time I seen it could have a million signatures. At that time it was going to get, voted on. But I was like, look at this. Look what she did. Just a regular 16-year-old, and probably said, enough is enough. We got to do something. So that's what we got to do. Take your anger into action
Right.
because that's where it starts. When you say, "Hey, I got to do something about this," you see something, report it. Don't look the other way. Don't hide it. Cover it up because you're putting that animal or elderly or child in more harm's way, and that's not good. So we have to do something, and
We
we
have
have we have the right to do something. That's the great part. So never think, no, I can't, because I've heard so many times, oh, they're not going to do nothing. It's all about money or this or that. I say, how do you know if you don't at least try? You
right.
know, you have to at least try and not let anything block you. Because I mean, I always just, when I hear a victory coming in, and I said, whether I was involved or not, it's still right there. How did that victory happen? It took strong leaders, strong supporters, right, to
Mhm.
see that strong victory coming in. It wasn't just one person. So
Yeah,
maybe it
there was a
started
lot
with
of
one
people.
person, maybe, but it took teamwork all the way. And getting with our state representatives and senators is a foot in the right direction. Contacting them because they're the big dogs,
I
right?
agree.
They
Well,
are the big dogs. If we don't get laws enforced from any angle, new laws, stricter laws, harsher penalties to enforce, if we have nothing to enforce, that gives the abusers a green light to keep going. So it's all up to us to say, hey, stop. We need to do something now and get with those lawmakers because that's where it's happening. And even these big organizations, animals, you look at them, they can't change anything. They have to get with these state representatives and senators, okay, to get laws created and
right.
back them. So,
The le-
we,
the
yep,
legal
they have to.
presence is so important. And there's an organization, Social Compassion in Legislation, and they focus on completely on just getting laws passed. But it's true, the average person, anyone can do it. People can come up, get together in a small group and share the work. Uh, if you really, if it bothers you, get involved because that is the salve. It really helps to be part of the action to change. And then when you see stuff on TV like, oh, Alexandra Paul, former Baywatch actress, is one of the rescuers, and then you see it on we saw it on so many channels. And this is something they've been pushing for a while. So a lot of these things grow in momentum over time, like the different social movements. They didn't happen overnight, but it was constant people, joining, and the people that were in it persevering, and over time things will change. And if we can't get them to change, it's going to be very scary. We have no choice because you start with animals and then it's humans. Well, it's what you're saying. It's the children, the elderly, the animals, all the vulnerable people. But what
Yes,
would stop them from coming after everyone? I mean, chaos breaks out when there's no empathy and no compassion. We need to build that back into our lives.
agreed all the way. You are so right. And
And
a big shout out to Eric, I'm sorry, Kirk Erickson that just entered the live studio. Hey, follow Voices Carry for Animals podcast because, hey, the more followers out there, the better. The more action takers. Spread the word. You can share this show right from the chat room. I want to get that in there because I always welcome anybody that comes in this chat room. Hey, and you're listening from the web. I appreciate all of you, and sharing the shows. I told Lindsay earlier, I said, hey, the mama bear's on a roll. Catch me if you can. Right here, Lindsay. When I go out sharing and have all the shout outs and on social media. This is what we're talking about. I get it out there. I have a lot of help. I can't thank everyone enough, you know. And what Lindsay's doing and we're doing, hey, host to host, coast to coast, speaking out on air together for our animal friends in need. And that's what it takes. Because our voices are getting out there, making voices heard worldwide. Okay, so please do your part. Put a little love in your heart and do your part. Like you said, we need some more compassion in this world, some more dignity, respect. That's what it's lacking it very badly, and it's showing because if you look out there and see what's happening through my news feeds on X and Facebook, LinkedIn, there's so many horrific animal cruelty going on. It's pathetic. It's totally unnecessary. They're innocent on that from every angle.
it's
And
just
when
crazy.
it is, it's insane. And it's like, why? Why so many? Why are there so many cruel and heartless people out there? What excuses do they have? Oh, they had a bad day. No, that's no excuse. They got divorced. No, got to fight with this one, that one. There's no excuse for it. When they take it and put that animal, let's get them out of harm's way. Let them live in peace and freedom, comforts. treated with dignity and respect, have their animal rights granted, not violated. Not sweep it under the rug and act like it's no important. So some people, you know, there's some that will get arrested for animal cruelty, and then
Yeah.
there's ones out there. If you look at these slaughterhouses, what do you call that? I mean, and the abuse and neglect going on behind the scenes. We all know what goes on behind the scenes. We can't see it, but it's going on, and that's what needs to
Well,
stop. Yep.
you can go to certain websites and people go in with, cameras, hidden cameras, and take footage, and you can see it. The footage is so horrific that when there's cases, even in the beagle cases, in the factory farm, cases where people broke in to rescue animals, they never want that footage in the courtroom. The
No.
the They will block the lawyers for the abusers, will block the footage from being shown to the jury because nobody can stand to see it. It's not our innate way of being. We've become corrupted, and we have to go back to a higher moral plane in so many ways. Not morality of judging people for their whatever their choices are, what if they're not hurting others, if they're responsible, honest, ethical people. But as far as our morality of how we treat each other and treat animals, like we are down in the ditch when it comes to that. And I guess part of it, you can thank technology for the social media, but you can also say that technology and our dehumanization of people and all these video games where people are shooting each other. And I don't know, I never found that. People say, oh, it's just relaxation. But I don't know, in your mind that you think of, you're shooting someone, there's no consequence in the game. How can that, I mean, why is our society so violent? And how do we stop it? That's the real
Right.
important thing. So, one of the ways is by promoting compassion and ethics. And
Uh,
I think that's why we both do what we do. It's just, you just want to live in a better world, or who wants to live in a world that's horrible?
Agreed. You couldn't have said it any better. You know that
Thank
we live in a better and safer world for all. I mean, if you look at it and what's going on, it's like, is this really happening in this world we're living in today? You see all the cruelty, the murder, and the violence, and the animal abuse, the elder abuse, child abuse. What is going on? I mean,
Because
why have we let it go this far? This didn't just start out in 2026. We're going back to the 20th century. We're headed to the 22nd century, okay? And I look at it, I was like, well, no, I'm not going to be here in the 20 or 22nd century. But how is it going to be if we don't take that action and train the generations coming up to advocate too, like we're doing, Lindsay? You think
exactly.
about it, and if and Kirk Erickson said in there, if you when your child is growing up, all the ones that you want to teach them how to treat animals with dignity and respect, and then they'll move forward in their adulthood doing the same. So once you start them young and everything and educate them, and I wish the schools would do that. More
I would,
schools
yeah.
would get involved because animals, we share this earth together. Temporarily, but we're sharing it together, and they should get more educated on them. Dignity and respect, going around them, visit those shelters. And I've seen photos where the children are reading. They do these field trips, and they're reading books to the animals in the shelters. I was like, that is so heartwarming. Maybe they parents go adopt one. Adopt, don't shop.
Right.
Bring your new furry loved one in or loved ones and give them that TLC home they so well deserve. So teaching them young, and thanks Kirk for bringing that up. because it's so important, in this society we're living in. And I'm going to keep doing this, Lindsay, till my last breath, okay? Because I'm relentless
You
in these
better.
podcasts. I know you are too, and you're a super team player. I'm so honored to have you on. And it's so great. And once I get this new podcast started up, you come back on, okay?
Oh,
And
that'd be great.
again
I'd
and
love to.
again. Yes.
I'd love to. Uh,
Yes, thank you. And I wanted to, if see if any, you ready to take any calls?
sure.
If anybody wants to speak to Lindsay, if press the phone icon or mic icon in the lower right hand of your phone screen, your laptop, iPad, tablet, and alert me you want to come on air, okay? And just try to refrain from any noises in the background,
Hello.
TV's, radios, conversations. You're more welcome to come on board. Go ahead.
Oh,
Hello?
hello.
Hello.
Yes.
It's Aloha 1970.
Hi, Aloha. How are you?
I'm great. Hello,
Uh,
Lindsay.
Nice to meet you, and thanks for
Nice to meet
calling
you.
in.
Yes, I've shared your post on Facebook, Lindsay.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And
That's
I
so
chime in
great.
when I can on Unchained TV.
Say that again.
I chime in when I can on Unchained
Oh,
TV on Facebook when they go live, when they go Facebook Live.
well, that's so great because, like we were talking about, that support is so, it's like money in the bank. And if everyone could download the app it's a free app, Unchained TV,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much good programming. This whole story about the Beagles, you can watch it, it's a nail biter. There's a zombie movie, there's all kinds of cooking shows. There's so much content on there that it's just unbelievable that it's free, but it also helps the more people download. It helps us get, I'm on the board of directors, and we're constant, because we're a nonprofit, we're constantly looking for supporters. And some of these bigger supporters that, help us, they want to see that we have a lot more people watching, that it's relevant, that people really like it. So that's another big way people can help, supporting Debbie's channel, Unchained TV, and in turn mine's on there, and so many other people that are doing, or different groups that are doing this. We have to really support each other.
I would chime in on the weekends, though, when you used to do baking shows on Saturdays, I think a while
Yes.
ago. Yeah, I would chime in on Unchained TV Facebook
Were
Live.
you on were you on one of the shows cooking?
Oh, no, not on. I was just one of the chat, though. I was on Facebook chat.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's we they did Lunch Break Live for a couple of years.
that's the one.
Lunch Break Live. Yeah, I did some episodes. I'm not a chef, but you really
Oh,
don't have to be a chef. I mean,
hmm
if you're vegan and you have a couple of delicious recipes and they're simple, actually, that's what people love. So, yeah, I think we should do more live cooking shows on Unchained TV. Spread that word to Jane Velez Mitchell, because she's the one that's in charge of that program. The kind of shows I do, I like to mix it up. I do some shows I do about activists.
hmm
I'll do shows with experts like scientists, and shows with other experts to talk about what's going on, how the environment's, affecting the animals, and what's, where animals need to be supported, like the Thule elk and different things. And then sometimes I'll do shows about health or fitness. So I try to mix it up a little bit, just to kind
And,
of help people get, like, stuff you can share with your friends to help them go vegan.
and I'd chime in if I could, but whenever they go live, though, Unchained TV, I'm not home. I'm always on the go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can always watch it later, especially on the streaming network. Those
hmm
shows are up there forever.
hmm And it's very difficult out here since I left Las Vegas
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Appalachians. As I mentioned in chat, though, it's very difficult out here because they rarely have any vegan options at restaurants.
Really? In Las Vegas?
No, no, no. I used to live there. I
Oh.
moved to Wheeling, West Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Very difficult because it's a meat and potatoes state.
Yeah. So what do you do?
I have to get creative in the kitchen, which is fun. Which is because
Yeah.
so far I've been baking chocolate chip cookies,
Yeah.
a vegan version of it. I'm still practicing.
Yeah, but when you go
It's,
out for dinner or something, what do you do? What do you order?
well, they only have the vegan black burger at Later Gators. That's the
Mm.
only vegan option they would have. And that's the only restaurant that would service vegan food because most of everything's vegetarian.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, what I do is I'll put together side orders. I'm sure you know about this too. Like they'll have a side, sometimes sides of vegetables, potatoes, and that's one way to do it. But I like to cook a lot more at home. And since I became vegan, I think I've become a better chef. And I'm always looking for new recipes.
And after being for 11 years, it'll be 11 years on my 48th birthday coming up in September.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Debbie, what do you do about, well, in Florida, there's a lot of vegan restaurants.
I've heard.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I can along the coast and everything. I can't really say about all of Florida. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they, with all the education that's going on, with, educating people with about being a vegan, or it's the best thing to do because it's the healthiest way to go.
Right.
You feel better, you look better, you lose weight, the whole nine yards. You can't say nothing against it. So how when you educate someone and that's who's willing to learn or listen, and it could change their lives. That's the best
Mhm.
thing you could do because you're not only making yourself healthier, you're help saving animals. And that's the key. So when I had to bring this up, I think I sent it to you on Facebook, Lindsay, when there was going through news feed, okay, and it said it was this individual, I won't mention no names, was saying that all meat eaters are Jeffrey Dahmers, and I'm like, whoa! I had I had to intercept in that one, okay, and I was like, this is no way to encourage somebody because this Facebook friend was getting ripped apart.
Yeah.
You cannot discriminate whether you're vegan or meat eater or whatever. Just like with these shows, I try to encourage all of us to come in together,
Mhm.
educate, don't discriminate. Okay. With these shows, I don't do not discriminate against anything. I want, like I said, we the people includes all of us. So when they made that comment, I said, wait, wait, right there. That's my last name. Hold on. This
Yeah.
happened back in the 90s. You can't call all meat eaters Jeffrey Dahmers because he's a serial killer. He was abused animals before he started his killing, with what was it, 17 of them. So, and I'm
Mhm.
like, why do that? You want to educate. I told him, I said, if you're scaring people away by doing that. I had to step in and I said, this is not right. You
Well,
want to attract people to want to learn about veganism and to, uh, and not call them names or anything or hate them, discriminate against them. Because we all know through the family, because if you look around, they serve meat everywhere out there, okay? Everywhere, and even in the schools, the restaurants, everything. So, that's a huge thing right there to have everybody change over, but at least educate them so some people, big majority, might change their lives over. To educate, know what's in that food, what that animal, how animals getting treated behind the scenes, the cruelty that's going on. Everybody open your eyes. So when that post came through newsfeed, I said, "Whoa, that's not good." You're
yeah.
scaring people away instead of bringing them in. Educate, don't discriminate. I will not discriminate against anybody that's, that listens to the show. Like, I don't, on my timeline, I don't say, oh, our followers or on this podcast or groups or admins. Like, I don't ask questions like that. Are you a meat eater or are you a vegan? Okay. Because
Hmm.
I let them all in, okay? Because the ones that need educated, hey, we got to do it. Or hey, if you're black, white, gay, straight, or if you're Democrat or Republican, I do not discriminate in that. Hey, we the people consist of all of us, and that's not breaking it down,
Inclusive, yes, yeah,
right? I mean, if you
inclusive.
think about it, and so we have to work together and stand together. And wherever we need education, education is the key,
It
you
is.
know, and to the truth and reality of it. What's going on? Do you know what you're putting inside your body? The ingredients, how these animals are being treated behind the scenes. And they live terribly. If you look at the pigs stuffed in crates, they can't even move around, socialize, and they look so sad in them
Well,
things. It's
it's horrible
terrible.
because, again, that's another law in
Yep,
California. Prop 12, we passed a law that would ban that the pigs that needed to get more room, and it went through. There was a petition, and it has still not been enforced. So that's where, we can't stop. As people get to a certain point, they get the bill passed, and then all the momentum, not the core group will stick around because they're still trying to get it over the finish line, but the supporters will back away, and that's when they're needed the most. So it's just ironic that sometimes we're so close to change and we just don't even realize it. They say that it only takes a small percentage of people to think a certain way, and I'm paraphrasing, but it changes the whole psyche of the society. And so then it will become the norm that most people don't eat meat or they find alternative meatless dishes. And it's just, the abnormal that people would eat an animal. And that will happen. And we're not that far from that happening or that switch taking place, but we just have to keep the pressure on and we have to keep going and we have to not fight with each other. And that's the thing. If they can separate us, they being the government, they being the powers that be that sort of run the show and not necessarily do it in a very ethical way or legal way, but instead of fighting with each other, we have to hold them to their feet to the fire, to the laws that have been passed, to uphold those laws when it's not happening. It's not happening on so many levels. There's so much corruption, and this is part of it. Start speaking up for the animals, and I think you will find that you'll find your voice, and then you just can't keep quiet about when you see injustice.
that's right. Open your eyes and your ears and be willing to listen and educate yourself. Teach
Exactly.
yourself, because this is what's going on here. And more people, don't fight against each other because, hey, this one's a meat eater, this one's not. I mean, that's, educate them, because
This
it's
one's a
not right to
Republican. This one's a
discriminate.
Democrat. I mean, it's like through everything we're divided right down the middle. I don't think our country has been this divided ever before. What do you think?
Oh,
I
I
agree.
totally agree all the way. I mean, because there's so much nastiness going, cyberbullying. We're going out in the cyberspace world. I mean, ripping each other apart. I'm seeing friends. I'm seeing in groups and animal groups, and they're on their pages. And if you're a Trump supporter, you're automatically deleted. Or you're a Democrat, you're deleted. That's not getting us anywhere. They wouldn't want their children acting like that. It's like we're full grown adults here. You have the right to vote for whoever you want to. Marty Oakley's used to say, "In the age of information, ignorance is a choice." I said, "How true is that?" That is so true, because find out for yourself. There's
Exactly.
two sides to every story out there. Don't just have somebody force you to feel, how they feel. No, that's not good. Or bully you into it. That's not right. Or
You know,
hate somebody for it. You know, let's grow up in a lot of areas where we can do and help each other out and be there and help make changes. Help this be a better and safer world to live in and healthier. Also, and that means your health means a lot. How many times have you heard when somebody said, "Oh, they can't eat red meat no more"?
mm,
Okay, there you go. All right. So if you listen to that and you look what's going on, go to the roots, go to the roots of the problem, work your way up, and common sense wins every time.
yeah,
So I mean, I find that out myself. Roots to the problem, work your way up, and common sense wins every time. So we have to
true.
educate each other and do that. So that's what makes we got to make this a better world because the generation after generations coming up, they're going to get and we're going to get older. We can't do this. How many more years? We don't even know what our future looks like. We have
True.
no clue. With these elderly out there, they were once our ages, okay?
Right.
And they might be going through some very serious health issues or whatever, and we don't know what's going to happen to us. But we
Right.
know we're not going to be able to advocate the rest of our life because one day when that birth certificate converts over to a death certificate, we're out of here. You
Right.
know, maybe these shows will keep running. You'll hear my voice for a long time, but I know one day I'll be out of here. Okay, and we all have to. We look toward foods and say, hey, we got to make it better for everyone. Okay, and have that heart. Because look what we're doing, Lindsay. Look what we're doing. We don't have to do this. We want to do this.
Yeah.
We
We
we're
will
not.
wake
Well,
up.
we're not mandated to do this. This is on our own time, valuable time, and we're being a positive impact out there. And that's for all animal rights activists and advocates and all you're doing because it matters. So but contacting your representatives, everyone, senators, be polite and professional. Get your word out there. You can even contact the president. How's that?
I
When you're
like
met,
that. I like that idea too, to contact the president,
yes.
and to call and to share out and ask your friends to share out and to call. And, I called a few of my friends that day when it was going on. I was calling. They were saying, call in, call in. I was calling. I hung up and I called back again. I was on a roll, and then I called my friends, and you just get going. And I was in such a good mood because I felt like I knew the phones were just so tied up there of people calling the police department saying, what are you doing? This is against the law. A special prosecutor has made a judgment. A judgment came down because the special prosecutor investigated. A judge ordered that this stop, and it's still going on. And then the police go in and give the dogs back to the criminals. I mean, it's just
Mm,
insane. What were they thinking?
exactly. It's like, what is going on here? There's something wrong with this picture. Go back to the torture and the cruelty. Front lines. And they're supposed to be closed down. So why aren't they closed down? Is my question.
Yeah,
They're
they
letting.
have till
Mm,
I think April to close down completely and get rid of all the animals. But they're conducting business illegally, is what I understand. That's what I don't have, I didn't see firsthand proof, but there is footage. I mean, you can just see, well, first of all, the one violation right there that should shut them down is the fact that the dogs they're on that wire, their footing is not on anything smooth. Could you imagine sleeping on wire cage and your
mm.
feet? Their whole life has been like they would spend their life in there. I mean, they could be in there for 2 to 3 years until they're eliminated. And it's just awful because those dogs are eventually so-called euthanized. But it's just to be born into the life of hell, pure hell.
Oh yeah. They don't know what a regular life is, and that's the sad part. And they're what kind of life is that for them? That's zero freedom, I mean, zero love and care. It's terrible from all angles. Let them enjoy their lives. Get them out. I mean, it's all the stuff that's going on. It's terrible. But
Well,
anyway, I'm gonna in a few I'm going to be closing up the show, and then
okay.
I could be talking all night. You know
Mhm.
that because this is another great show. But
Okay.
anyway, Lindsay, can you give your podcast, where your YouTube channel
Oh
and
yeah,
also the
sure.
website where they can get them and everything,
Sure. It's
and your Facebook group. There's a Facebook group for what is it? Be Your Voice, or yeah.
in my voice. I haven't been as active on that, but I'm mostly, as far as Facebook, it's just on Facebook, I'm Lindsey Baker. So you can find me at Lindsey Baker on Facebook. As far as the TikTok and Instagram, I am Lindsey Baker. And then my podcast is completely free. You just go to unchainedtv.com/, action dash hour. So there is a dash that you put on there. But all the shows on Unchained TV are great. So I do urge people to download the app and support the network by downloading it, because it really, really helps as well.
Oh yeah, the downloads afterwards, yes, definitely, because they can listen and share 24/7 too.
Yeah,
That means a lot. Because I know after this show gets published, when it shoots out, it sprouts out, and they could, listen, share 24/7, and all of them are listed on there. Isn't that great? I
that's
love this.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so making voices heard worldwide, and share them.
I
There's the
love the
key.
name too. Voices carry for the animals. That's such a great name.
Oh, thank you. I had it from PS Radio Net with Marty Oakley, and once she helped me get Animal Advocates Radio together, set it up and everything,
That's
and we stayed in contact after that. So I said I'm going to keep that name, because
mhm.
when it was on TS Radio Network, I came up and she did a logo back then, because I didn't have experience on the podcast and stuff, and she helped me along with everything. She created a podcast monster. Thanks, Marty. May you rest in peace. And I said, voices do carry for animals if there is enough of us, right? And they do
Absolutely.
carry. Only a handful will just spinning our wheels, blowing out steam, and we don't want to do that. We want to encourage all of you. That's what these podcasts are for. To get on here and encourage all of you that's tuning in to take that action. And that social media is a landing strip for all of us to do our part. And it doesn't take that long. I'm so fast as this stuff, bringing up 4 tabs, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, copy, paste, that makes my head spin. And I love doing it. I don't mind at all. And you got to take your personal life and take care of business there. Don't let it get smothered with you. Take breaks, come back refreshed like I do, and you come back stronger. You don't want to get exhausted from it,
Mhm.
because there's
Mhm.
plenty of us out there to do it. But if you see animal cruelty, report it. Be that animal or animals' voices, and let justice be served. Okay, that big name justice, and let's see more victories come in, because that's where changes really come in, and they're doing their
It does
part.
happen. It does happen. It seems like it's never going to happen, but it does. And I've seen many different things change over the years that are very encouraging. Um, and it's just a matter of us keeping at it, one victory after another on these court cases, and then getting more and more people to be aware of what's happening. They go, what's going on? Why are those people in jail for saving for saving animals? They've gone to jail, or for pointing out cruelty. And
Right.
it just works. It's great.
Yep.
It's
And to inspire each other, just not just spread the word to everyone you're talking to. Let them know what's the truth and reality of it, of all that this is. Don't cover it up, don't hide it, be silent. Let them know, because what's going on behind closed doors on a lot of stuff is so wrong and injustice, and we need to be their voices. Make some calls, write letters, emails, meet in person with your representatives, senators. Fax them. You get their fax number. I've done that before. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and have it. Have all your ducks in a row. And hey, you'll be surprised what happens. You never know until you try. That's the thing. Never say never.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yes.
Never just do your part because that's where we see changes come in and I know Lindsay when there's a victory come in I do the happy dance, okay, the mama bear happy dance. I was like, look at this, it makes you, it inspires you to keep going, not stop there because you've seen it happen right in front of your eyes. You're a part of it and
Right.
you can't take action, but you are involved, okay, and a human chain reaction to take action. I never take credit, but I said, listen, what I'm doing, you're doing, Lindsay, what all the active, action takers are doing, it means a lot. And the leaders, and the big organizations doing their thing, we all have to work as a team. It is needed. Okay, it's necessary. Because if
Mm-hmm.
we don't, we're fighting with each other and this and that, bickering over this and that, and not getting out of the group because somebody's in that's running his opposite political party. That's political discrimination. It's the same as if I don't like you because you're white or black or gay or straight. You know what I'm saying? So we
Absolutely.
have to
It's
work together.
2026.
Yep. So we have to do that. But anyway, Lindsay, I'm gonna go ahead and close it down.
Alrighty.
And Jacqueline Patterson, thank you for entering.
Thank
And
you. Yeah.
Sue UK, thank you for entering also. Please follow me on Voices Care for Animals podcast on Podbean podcast app and web. Okay, I'll be on a couple more months, and then I'll be switching over everyone. So I'll keep everyone informed because I hope you come over with me. Don't ditch me, okay? Always be by my side because I need all of you, okay? All of you to keep me going, keep my spirits up, and keep on, doing what I'm doing. Almost 12 years celebration, and at the end of June, so I'll be on a new one. I got to keep track of where I was on TS Radio, Blog Talk Radio, Podbean. this night, this live stream is awesome. With the studio chat room, and so the
Mm-hmm.
one I'm looking at is looks like just like it. So I don't want to get it
Oh,
hooked up
good.
yet because I am booked up with guests until then. So I don't want to change over yet. So all right, and oh, thank you for not going to ditch me, okay, but for you, that's
I'm
awesome,
all ears.
and you
I
too,
won't do it.
Michelle. Thank you. I got my super team here that's going to
Yeah,
stand with me, and I know Lindsay is too, my animal warrior sister,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
But anyway, Lindsay, I can't thank you enough for coming on,
Well, thank
and
you for
looking
having
forward to
me.
coming you back on the new podcast. How's that?
Hey, can't wait.
Yeah, and I can't wait either, because we're going to, the 12th year anniversary, we'll celebrate on a new one, and we'll put this, because when Blog Talk Radio closed down, it knocked me down, but I found this one closed door and a better one open. Now, this one's closing up, so I hope I found a better one than this one. And that'd be great.
That would
And
be
if,
great. Yeah.
yeah, and Frieda says she's going to stalk me forever, so that's a plus.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Animal. There's another Animal Warrior sister. She's a big supporter on X out there and always sharing a list of them. I mean, a huge list of animal pages on X. I mean, I tag them and they always help me out. And then this show will be every weekend. I get notifications on X. They're sharing Voices Care for Animals again, and it's archived. So that's a plus. They can hit it any time and all their
Right.
support. Yes, and even on Facebook, I mean, the followers on my Voices Care for Animal support group, all the ones that thank you for there. Michelle's big on sharing too, and also on Voices Care for Animals podcast Facebook page. There's so much I'm involved in, and I'm gonna stay involved. The YouTube channel, subscribe there. Voices Care for Animals podcast, subscribe. Also, Animal Advocates Radio podcast on Podbean, or I'm sorry, YouTube. I mean, this list is huge. So, but anyway, I'm gonna go and close it down and everything. And
Great.
Lindsay, stay in touch, okay? and
Definitely,
everything.
definitely. We'll talk soon.
Yes, and as soon as this gets published, you'll get an alert on your phone as published. But I
Oh, great.
gotta where I have the promo at all over Facebook. I share it right from my Voices Care for Animals support group. That's where I
Right.
start at. So all I gotta do right now, it doesn't show no any links. So after I get it done, I change the link to where the or that's in the post, and then once I change that, then all the links will be in there so you can check it out.
That's
So
great.
yes, and it'll change over. So and after that, you can share it all over the place
I
too, because it'll
will
be
for sure.
downloads.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important, everyone, to do your part. Listen to them, 2, 3 in the morning if you want to, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, anytime.
That's the great part. Yeah.
Pull up another tab and listen. Go ahead and shop or go on social media and listen to it because they're very educational and so many amazing guests and callers. It's just a total success all the way around. I can't thank all of you enough making it happen. Almost 12 years later, we are the animals' voices and we got to be heard, right? Get them,
Absolutely.
get them out of harm's way. Thank you, Michelle. It's educational. That's what our goal is. Educate. Bring the awareness. Let everything knows what's going on behind the scenes. And my wonderful mother, she's tuning in this evening. Everyone, Pat
Oh,
Dahmer.
wow.
Yeah, I call her AKA Moose, another name for mom. She don't look like a moose, but she's a beautiful woman inside and out. And Aloha, thank you for all your support.
You're
I
welcome.
don't I don't know what happened to Mama Cat. She disappeared. But I'll
She
find
said she
out.
had to leave in chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I didn't see that, but I'll catch up with later. But anyway, Aloha, are you
Yes,
Okay.
ready?
Bye
I'm
bye.
ready. Yes.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Paw in hand, united we stand against all animal cruelty, against neglect, animal cruelty, and neglect across the land.
All
All
right.
right.
There
That
we
was awesome.
go. Yes, I use that a lot, I do. I even have logos for that. And it means so much because we're standing hand in hand, across the land against all animal cruelty and neglect. It's there. It's in our front lines. Everyone, we're seeing it in the first degree, not what we're seeing or on the social media or out there in this world. There's totally, it's totally unacceptable. We have to be better protectors and defenders out there, and that means more action takers to get them laws created. So
Yes.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Michelle said, "Good job,
Thanks,
Aloha."
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Great job there. You did. I
Thank
appreciate all your support too. And
I
it
appreciate
means a
you
lot.
here to help.
Yeah. So let's do something about Wisconsin Beagles, everyone. Make
Yes.
them calls and letters, emails. Let's make some noise peacefully, but let's see some changes made, positive changes for them, because we're their only hope to get them out of there and get them to safety, right?
Absolutely. We got to do it.
So, yeah. So, Lindsay, if you have any last words you want to say to the audience out there,
It was a
go right ahead.
pleasure. It was just a pleasure to be on, and I look forward to working with you again and talking to you again and sharing and collaborating with everyone. And yeah, it was just a joy to be on. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Hey, you're so truly welcome. I couldn't wait to get you on.
Oh,
Yeah, and looking forward to having Jane on. And when I get
yeah.
this set up, get
She's a
hold
good
of her.
talker, Jane. That'll be
Oh
great.
yeah, she's been on a couple times. I was on TS Radio Network, but she did great. When I watched her on HLN, I never thought years later that I would be interviewing her.
Cool, right?
Isn't that a good one? Watching her all the time on issues. Yep,
You never
but it
know
was
in life.
great. You never know. You can't predict the future. You know, and she's doing great. What she's doing? Tell her gave her a big shout out.
Definitely, yeah. She
She'll
deserves it.
like that.
Yeah.
Unchained TV, everyone. Check it out. Website.
Watch that
Also,
Unchained TV. Great.
Facebook page. There's all kind of ways you can get on there. I
Yeah.
just shared some more stuff from her page earlier, about the wildlife and everything. Like I'm
Mhm.
going to go back and get some more stuff. So to share. Jane
Okay.
is a fireball. Yes, she is. Thank you.
Oh,
Yep.
yes, indeed.
Yep. Right. I mean, how else? Powerhouse. And she's always been that way. And it's great because that's the way you got to be. No sugarcoating it. Tell them like it is. And that's it.
She doesn't
Because
get
that
that.
She's a lawyer
telling the
too.
truth. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, you all have a nice and very peaceful evening. And remember, next week I had to change my guest, so I'll get another one confirmed here. I don't want to say yet, but it'll be 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Hope you tune in. Okay,
Oh.
spread the word. Thank you, everyone, and may
All right.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you all.
You.
Bye. God bless you too.
Blessings. Good night, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. With our voices, the animals will be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice. Good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Bye bye. Night, aloha. Good night, Lindsay.
Good night, Debbie.
Bye bye.
Good night, Debbie.
Thank you so much. Michelle, thank you. All of you.